everyone, Jordan here, and today we're back with another Minecraft video. Today we have a Frontier Airlines Airbus A320NEO in the new livery for Frontier, representing Eccles the Ermine, this cute little guy on the tail. And yeah, today's the first episode of an Airbus aircraft that we're showing, and I had actually made a Frontier A320NEO, but I always see this registration and tail whenever I go to Denver, and whenever I'm driving up to the terminal from my Uber, I always see this registration and this little guy on the tail, so I decided to make the Neo version and make this, which isn't very, the Neo isn't that different from the CO, so yeah. Anyways, before this video begins, just as a quick overview, we're going to talk about kind of the history of the A320NEO, kind of history of Frontier, which is very interesting because Frontier has gone through quite a lot to get where they currently are today, and some other fun facts here and there. So, but one last thing before I begin, if you guys would like to check out our Discord server, we have a link in the description where you can join. We post a bunch of renders, a bunch of cool stuff, and you basically get to interact and see what we do. A lot of people are making airport projects and everything there, so if you'd like to join in and see what we're up to, click the link in the description. But without further ado, let's begin. To start at the nose of the aircraft, we have the very wide A320 nose. Now, we ended up making this aircraft before we did the 737, and I'm kind of glad that we did because this helped us, build our technique for building aircraft noses that are slightly wider. So with the A320, when we ended up tracing this over the blueprints, it actually worked out so that we could put the cockpit panels right here, which I love. I really feel like it gives it that signature A320 look. We have the Eccles the Ermine text right here, since Frontier puts the animal's name and the type of animal it is at the front of the aircraft right here. We have some, AOA sensor speedo tubes, all of that mess down there. We have the windshield wipers for the flight crew, and then we just have a little fin up top. On the underside, we have the main landing gear right here, which is very different from the 737's landing gear. That is much closer to the ground. But as you can see, if I can go into spectator, here's the landing gear well, where the landing gear will retract into. Continuing though, this is the 2014 livery for Frontier when they started to modernize their entire fleet. It has a blue color complementing the green. And what's really interesting is that this Frontier logo, well, the new Frontier logo is based off the old 1978 logo from Frontier, and I'm going to get to that history in a little bit. But as I can continue, Frontier in 2014 completely went with a whole new livery, as in 2013 they added the Fly Frontier versions of their liveries, and they were following the trend of a lot of airlines. What they'll do, rather than go with a completely brand new livery, is they'll add very subtle, elements and change it. Like, for example, JetBlue got rid of the light blue line on the newer 320s. Delta added the Delta on the underbelly. United, up until their latest livery, they had the Dreamliner livery and on the Max. So, long story short, airlines will often change their livery very slightly to keep it fresh and modernized rather than go with a completely new thing, and I understand why. But, again, in 2014, they completely scrapped it and they did a whole new thing. I'm assuming it is in anticipation of the Maxes, so yeah, it looks great. As you can see, we have the blue complementing the green on the LEAP 1A engines. Now, Frontier has been around for quite a while, actually, and they have a lot of rich history in what happened to the company. But to begin with, we need to go back to 1950, where Frontier started between the merger of several companies into one. This is the Frontier that you probably know of when they flew wide-body jets, 73 Classics, all of that, 732, I think DC-10s and stuff like that. That's the Frontier you're thinking about. But in 1986, the company fell upon hard times and was forced to close its doors. However, some of the same businessmen went to found Frontier Airlines in 1994, only 8 years later, which is the modern Frontier that we know of. That airline started flying 737 Classics, the CLs, the 300s and stuff like that. In 2003, the airline became the launch customer for the Airbus A318 and 19 for the US market, and then they transitioned to an all-Airbus fleet in 2005. However, just 3 years later, technically 3 to 4 years later, in 2008 to 2009, the airline again fell upon hard times due to the financial crisis and had to file for bankruptcy. So they were looking for buyers, and what is the coolest thing that happened was that Southwest Airlines pitched a proposal to buy the airline for about $113 million, and they almost bought Frontier. That blows my mind. Southwest newly acquired Frontier, and then it fell through. Didn't happen, so oopsie poopsie. But Republic Airways ended up buying Frontier Airlines, and they continued to run kind of as, like a one-off branch for a few years. And then the airline merged with Midwest Airlines, which flew in the Midwest of the country, especially around areas like Kansas, Omaha, St. Louis, etc. However, they still struggled, and in around 2011 to 2014, the airline again was back in dire straits, and this is when they were acquired by Indigo Partners. Now, this is very similar to the IAG group in Europe, which has multiple airlines under them. Indigo Group basically, is like the controlling umbrella for the airline. This is when the airline transitioned from kind of the airline you saw in the Undercover Boss episode that was actually really good into the current ultra low cost carrier that we know today. And I'm not saying ultra low cost is a bad thing. Like, I fly Spirit sometimes and it's fine. I have no issue with it. But that's where Frontier changed so drastically, because a lot of people remember Frontier in the 2000s being like, you know, an airline that competes with like JetBlue, Southwest, and, you know, Alaska, top of the line low cost carriers, where they now are kind of in the same league as Spirit, which I suppose works because they're making money, but, you know, you got times change. But anyways, this is one of their newest Airbus A320s that has been delivered just a year or two ago, and has Eccles the Ermine, as I said earlier, on the tail. But as I can continue, we have the Frontier text in light green. Well, not really light green, but in a very cool shade of green. And then at the back it says flyfrontier.com. We have the registration again, November 339 Foxtrot Romeo, with the American flag. If we go to the wing, we have the CFM LEAP 1A engines. This is the same engine that is on the 737 MAXes, and currently there are two engine options for the Airbus A320neo. You have the Pratt & Whitney PW1000 geared turbofan engines, or the CFM LEAP 1A engines. Now, very interesting about the engines is that the Neos have had their own engine issues, and the Pratt & Whitneys especially have been very troublesome, similar to Rolls-Royce on the 78 and with Boeing Airlines, etc. So what ends up happening is that Qatar, or Qatar, however you like to pronounce it, had an order for Airbus A320neos, but upon realizing that the Pratt & Whitney engines that they had ordered were grounded, had many issues, higher maintenance costs, etc., the CEO of Qatar, I'm going to call them Qatar, by the way, ended up canceling the order entirely, and they transitioned it to an A321neo order with LEAP 1As. So, yeah, you got Qatar to quit their order. Wow. Long story short, though, these are the same engines that are on the Maxes, hence the A, B, and C. The A's are for the Neos, the B's are for the Max, and the C's are for the Comac C919. And they're very nice, very quiet. I've flown on these. I love them. They're quiet, but they have just a little bit of an engine roar. They're great. But anyways, we have some strakes here, and then we have an engine intake and hazard warning back here. We have blue complementing the side of the engine right here for some detail, and then we have the pylon and exhaust nozzle. We also have the landing gear on the A320, which is a lot simpler than the landing gear on the 7.3, you know, believe it or not. And then we also just have a straight door that comes up and down. There's not any hubcap details on the landing gear of this aircraft, as I mentioned in the 757 video. There's no need to, because this retracts completely into the landing gear. Well, as I can go here, landing gear comes completely in, and it's not exposed like the 7.3, so Airbus doesn't have to worry about making it aerodynamic. But anyways, we have the flap track fairings of the Airbus A320, and then we have the wing and sharklets of the aircraft. We also have a bunch of static wicks. Airbus has a bunch of these on the aircraft, on all of their aircraft honestly, and it looks really cool when you can add them in Minecraft. Anyways, though, we have the no-step zone marked out here in black. Now, the A320 has multiple wing options. Some of them paint this a lighter shade, some of them paint them another shade. Frontier just leaves it like this. We have the overwing exit, which is outlined in red, which is a stark contrast to a lot of Boeing jets where they outline them in black or yellow. Yes, but there is an option for an Airbus operator to outline them in black, just putting that out there. We have the overwing exits right here, as you can see. And if we go to the back of the aircraft again, we have some fins, and then we have Eccles, the cute little Ermine here on the back of the airplane. So Ermines are basically, or short-tailed weasels, are little white guys. They look like ferrets. Well, they're relatives to ferrets. They live kind of in Eurasia and Northern America, and yeah, they're cute little guys. Aww. I would love to have one as a pet, although they are not good pets, and they are illegal as pets, because these little guys, they're a little violent. They bite, and they bite very hard, and they have very sharp teeth. So if you want one of these guys as a little pet, get a ferret. Don't get one of these. Anyways, as I was saying, though, we have the rear exit here, Fly Frontier text, and then we have some other underbelly details, more fins, beacon light, etc. As I can continue, we have the horizontal stabilizers with the elevators, as well as the stabilizer trim tab right here. We have some more static wicks here on the back of the tail, right there and right there, as well as the auxiliary power unit with a little light here at the back of the aircraft. Continuing on this side of the aircraft, we have the cargo holds. So here's the bulk cargo bay back here, and here's the main cargo door right there. I remember when we were making the 320s, we ended up getting this wrong, I think like twice, and Andrew had to come back in and show us how to do it properly. But anyways, on the front of the aircraft, here's the front cargo hold. As you can see, very simple, not huge, but bigger than the 737, so yeah. Anyways, though, here's this side of the aircraft. It's relatively the same thing. As you can see, we just have the geared turbo, not the geared turbofan engine, that's the Pratt's, the LEAP 1As, and then the Frontier Airlines text. I really love Frontier's livery. I think it's awesome how they have so many different animals on their tail. You know, have cute little ferrets and stuff, and it's like, it's really cool. I love it. So yeah, but as I can continue, that's pretty much it for the external portion of this aircraft. We can now go onto the interior of the A320 and check out what's inside there. Alright everyone, welcome aboard the A320NEO. As you can see, we have a flight attendant jump seat with a little call section for them to manage the cabin settings right here. We have the L1 exit, the R1 exit, and a little divider right here. We also have a little galley for the flight crew to do their work, some storage right there, and some other coffee makers and stuff right there. We have a lavatory right here, as well as just a wall frame here, and then the flight deck right there, but we'll get to that later. On board the Frontier aircraft, we have 3 rows of stretch seating, which is basically economy with more legroom right here. No in-flight entertainment, but we do have tray tables. Actually, those are not in the right way. I think, are these right? Yeah, here they are. With, tray tables back here and that. As we can continue down, though, it then goes to regular economy, but at the overwing exits, we have some more rows of stretch. And I think this is very ingenious. United does this too, where you'll have overwing exits as stretch, because these seats naturally do have more legroom, so why not just make it stretch? Anyways, as I can continue, I keep saying that. I say that too often. Moving on, we have more economy seats back here. As you can see, nothing special, nothing fancy, really. We just have more lavatories here at the back of the aircraft, and then a rear galley, where the flight crew can do their more work. Anyway, rear jump seats back here, rear stations, all of that, pretty simple. Continuing on though, yeah, what I really wanted to point out though is that a lot of Frontier aircraft don't have the new Airbus interior with mood lighting. They all have this older interior, and I especially noticed this when I flew on Spirit's Neo, that they didn't have any mood lighting or any new cabin stuff. You would think a Neo would have this, but a lot of them don't, which I thought was odd, because every newer 737 has them, and every Max has the Sky interior, but the Neo, some of them don't have it, which I thought was very odd, but they're starting to be retrofitted, so more or less, give or take, I guess. But continuing, just lavatories, just regular economy seating back here. Nothing too fancy, nothing too special. Again, like, I fly Spirit sometimes whenever I'm just trying to get somewhere and save money or whatever. So I don't really care all that much about low-cost carriers. They're fine, they do their job, you get what you pay for. Like, the Spirit tickets are insanely cheap, and sometimes I'll buy them if I just need to get somewhere. So yeah, I don't really see all the hate for them, because they do their job pretty well, and the Spirit crew were very nice when I was with them, so yes. Anyways though, as I can continue, I say that too often. I need to find some synonyms for that. Anyways, we're now in the flight deck of the Airbus A320. I just want to make a quick note that this aircraft was, I think, one of our first airplanes we ever made in 3-to-1. So the cockpit isn't as good as its other counterparts, such as the 75, 777, all that, where we actually have more time to spend on them. But anyways, we have the primary flight display right here, the center console, and ICAS right here, which is super cool because, the Airbus is a super modern flight deck. We have the throttle quadrant right here, rudder pedals, the side stick right here to control the aircraft, this displays, and then we have the overheads, the overhead right here. What's super cool about the A320 is that there's different versions of the flight deck. You can get them with the CRT displays, which are the older technology. I love the look of the CRT screens. They don't build them like this anymore, but, the 80s look is just awesome. However, they've now transitioned to the LCD displays, which are much more modern, which is what every, modern aircraft with a glass cockpit is fitted with, but yes. Anyways though, super, nice cabin, nice cockpit. What I thought when I stepped in is that it's very wide. It's plenty of space compared to the 7.3. Oh my god, there is a lot of space in the flight deck of an A320neo. You can do pretty much anything you want in there, so I understand where pilots are like, hi, you have a lot more space in this, so yeah. However, I'm okay with small, cramped cockpits. It's kind of my style, so it's fine. But, that's pretty much it. We have circuit breakers around here, but I can't really fit them in, so yeah, A320 cockpit. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much all we have for today's video. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Smack the like button for more Minecraft content like this. If you'd like to see anything in the future, anything specific, feel free to let us know in the comments below and we can make it happen. Anyway, as I said again, check out our Discord server if you want to see a lot of our airport progress. Well, not airport Anyways, as I was saying though at the beginning of the video, check out our Discord server if you want to see a lot of our airplane progress. Some people are building airports. It's awesome. You get to see it, interact with people, and you get to see a lot of sneak peeks and previews and even vote on what aircraft you get to see in the next video. So, anyways, without further ado, thanks for watching. I'm Jordan, and I will see you in the next episode.